What's going on, tech enthusiasts and home lab heroes? Welcome back to the channel today. We're taking a crucial step in protecting all the hard work that you've poured into your home lab. Losing your data is a nightmare, and we're not going to let that happen. In this video, we're tackling rock-solid backups using the awesome Zimaboard, and we'll be setting up Duplicati to create weekly encrypted backups of your precious data. And to top it off, we'll be sending those backups securely to the cloud as a third state. So if you want peace of mind, knowing your home lab is safe and sound, stick around and let's get started. In our increasingly digital world, data is the lifeblood of everything we do. From cherished family photos to critical business documents, its value is immeasurable. But what happens when the inevitable strikes? A hard drive failure, a power surge, even a simple accidental deletion can lead to catastrophic loss. That's where a robust backup strategy isn't just a good idea, it's a necessity. And at its core lies a deceptively simple yet profoundly effective principle: the 3-2-1 backup method. The mantra is clear: backup before you, well, you know. But what exactly does this seemingly cryptic sequence of numbers signify? The first digit, 3, speaks to redundancy. You must maintain 3 distinct copies of the data you hold dear. Think of it as a safety net woven with multiple strands. These 3 copies can exist in various forms. Perhaps your primary working files reside on your main computer. The first layer of defense might be a second hard drive within that very machine, or spread across a network of interconnected devices. Imagine a home network with data mirrored across several computers, each a potential safeguard. But simply having multiple copies in the same location isn't enough. This is where the second digit, 2, comes into play. Your backed up data needs to reside on at least 2 different types of storage media. Consider the inherent limitations of any single storage technology. Hard drives can fail mechanically, SSDs can experience electronic issues, and even the most robust server can succumb to unforeseen hardware problems. By diversifying your storage, perhaps one backup on a traditional hard drive, another on a faster, more resilient SSD, or even a dedicated network-attached storage device, you mitigate the risk of a single point of failure, wiping out all of your backups simultaneously. Cloud storage, with its geographically dispersed infrastructure, offers another distinct media type. Even physical disks, though less common for primary backups today, represent a different form of storage. Finally, the crucial last digit, 1. At least one copy of your precious data must live off-site, separated geographically distant from your primary location and your local backups. Think of the potential for localized disasters: a fire, a flood, even a break-in. If all your data and backups are in the same place, they are all equally vulnerable. An off-site copy acts as the ultimate safety net, a lifeline to recovery no matter what befalls your primary location. Cloud storage emerges as an ideal solution here, offering both a distinct media type and remote accessibility, far removed from the confines of your home or office. Take, for instance, the setup of one dedicated data guardian. Their primary data lives on a home server, affectionately nicknamed Kflix, like mine. But the protection doesn't end there. Within Kflix itself, a second hard drive, designated Drive D, acts as an immediate local backup, a digital mirror ensuring a recent copy is always close at hand. Then, a carefully orchestrated digital ballet unfolds every week. As the clock strikes 2 a.m. on a Saturday, a script initiates meticulously copying selected data onto Drive D. 3 hours later at 5 a.m., another process kicks in: Duplicati, a specialized backup application running within a container on a small, power-efficient Zimaboard, diligently pulls this data from the primary server onto its attached SSD. But the journey doesn't end locally. From the Zimaboard, this second backup embarks on its off-site voyage, silently uploading to the vast digital landscape of Google Drive. This elegant solution not only provides a third copy and a distinct media type, but also ensures that the crucial offsite requirement is met without bogging down the primary server during peak usage hours. The 3-2-1 method isn't just a set of arbitrary numbers, it's a fundamental principle of data resilience. It's about building layers of defense, ensuring that no single point of failure can lead to irreversible loss. In a world increasingly reliant on digital information, embracing the 3-2-1 rule isn't just best practice, it's peace of mind. So let's show you how to do this. Now, I just want to be upfront and honest. I received this device, the Zimaboard 831, free of charge. Might be 832, completely free of charge from Zimaboard and the guys over there at Icewhale. And it's a fantastic device. It's brilliant to use as a backup server, and this is going to sound like it was a complete setup, but I'm here to tell you that during the filming of this video, I think I was hacked. I think someone managed to... There must have been a poor configuration on my end on my reverse proxy. But someone managed to get into my media server, and they just wiped everything. They just deleted everything. Now, although I didn't back up all my media files, or my films and my music and things like that, that can all be downloaded again, even though that was like 4 or 5 years worth of collection. What I actually had backed up was all my compose files, all my scripts, all my personal photos, things like that, and certain data files that enabled me to get back up and running really quickly, such as Prowler, all the Ars apps, Image, things like that. And oh my god, this was a godsend, because whatever happened to my main data, it actually wiped out my local backups too. But it didn't manage to spread to the Zimaboard, and it didn't manage to spread to my Google Drive backup as well. So I'm going to show you exactly how we can set this up. Now, there are a couple of ways you can get this up and running. You can get the compose file, which I'll put a link in the description below for you. But being that this is a Zimaboard, I am going to show you the method of installing this through CasaOS, simply because we are using it because it's on the Zimaboard. So once you've got your Zimaboard all logged in and set up and everything, the first thing you want to do is head over to the App Store. In the App Store, you can quickly search for Duplicati, and there you go. Do not click the install button. Instead, just click on the icon itself. Then, at the top, you'll see a little arrow next to the button Install. Click Custom Install. We always like to roll the latest, so we're going to hit the latest tag, you. And then we're going to head down the bottom a little bit. The port by default is 8200. You can keep that the same or change it if you want to. If you are going to change it due to conflicting ports, just change the host side, don't change the container side. The next thing you want to do is head over to your volumes. You're only ideally going to need 3, but you can put in as many as you need as time goes on and your setup becomes more complicated. The configuration directory, as always on CasaOS, starts with data, app data. The app ID is filled out for us, so it'll say Duplicati, and then config for the folder. Then we've got our 2 other volumes, the backups volume and the source volume. So the source volume can be a network share, it can be a local SSD, it can be a other type of attachment or file, anywhere the source files are. Now in my case, I used the network share from my primary server in this field. So you can either do that if you want to, and conveniently you can press these little squares on the side here in CasaOS, and this will take you down to wherever you need to go. So if you've got any mounts in here, for example the network drives, you can literally just go in here and then select what you want to be as your source. Backups are basically where you're going to transfer these files through Duplicati. Where do you want Duplicati to send these files? Now, in my case, I would normally have a portable SSD attached to this, but I am currently using that to restore some backups on my other computer. As I mentioned earlier on, had a bit of trouble while filming this, ironically, which is quite crazy, but yeah. So that's currently restoring on another version of Duplicati on my main server, just because it's a bit quicker than going over the network. But again, you can select anywhere on your mount points, on your system. Hell, you could even put in the root system here and just back that up, but bearing in mind some files will be locked if it's a live system. For demonstration purposes, I'm just going to copy the documents folder. Now, down below in the environment variables, we're going to need to add a few extras. This is why you don't just click install. So for this, we're going to need 2 extra environmental variable slots. The first one is going to be for, and I'll put everything in the description below for you, the Duplicati web service password. If you're installing this on Windows, you'll notice in the bottom right hand corner you have a tray icon, which actually conveniently just logs you in as you open Duplicati. If you're running this in Docker on any platform, Linux, Windows, Mac, whatever, you're going to need this. This is where you get to set the interface password so you can log in yourself. And the other one is going to be the settings encryption key, which is going to be the thing that basically encrypts all the backups. Now, you can set individual passphrases as well on all your backups, but it is highly recommended to have an encryption key as well. These things need to be very secure. You can make them pretty long, but yeah, you're going to want to put you know, anything you want in here, but just make it complex. Again, you know, maybe a few capitals as well. Whatever you want to do, chuck it in there. Just make sure you're using something like a password manager like Vault Warden. I have a link in the description below if you need to go and check that out. Vault Warden is a open source free version of Bitwarden, which comes with all the normally paywalled features, but they're free. So I've got a cool video on that. Then something very interesting, because a lot of your containers you usually will run with your hierarchy user on the system that you're running on, which generally is user 1000. However, I have come across a very interesting thing. I don't know if this affects everyone, but it certainly affected me. When I was restoring the backups to their destinations, I was getting a lot of errors saying, you know, access denied, this, that, and the other. And it turns out because obviously when you pull your backup, especially if it's over a network and it's coming from a different computer system altogether, like I have my primary Linux server, and then this is my Zimaboard Backup Server, it's going to pull those files, but with those permissions. So you need to kind of emulate something that's higher than the permissions, so that you can access and read and write those files. In my case, that was 0, 0, which translates to the root user. Now, most people wouldn't do this because they wouldn't want to give their container more privileges than necessary. However, we're not going to tick the privileges box down here. We are just doing this purely for emulation so that when Duplicati is reading and writing those files back out, it's got the root user permission. And again, it might work for you with the 1000. Feel free to try that if you disagree. But this is what I did, and it worked for me. And that's pretty much it. They're the only different things that we need to add to that file. Again, take note of your passwords that you have created. And we should be good to go. And you've copied the Duplicati web service password. We can now click install. And just like that, Duplicati is now installed and set up. If we hit the 3 little dot menu here and go to settings, and we go at the top to terminal and logs, and go to logs, we can see that the server has started and it is listening. It did boot up relatively quickly, and you can see that our user UID and GID is 00. So we'll click on that. All we got to do to run this, by the way, is just click on Duplicati, and then it will open up Duplicati. We're going to log in, and we're going to paste in the password that we set in the environmental variables as the Duplicati web service password, which gets us in. And this is our blank slate. Now, bearing in mind, if we go back over here to the settings menu, remember that our source directory we put as a connection over the network, and then our backups directory we've got as the documents. So essentially what that's going to do is, so don't forget, in our documents directory, if we are saving our backups in here, we are going to want to create a folder within the documents folder, and we're going to label that backups. And we can certainly do that at this point. We're going to click in there, And then we've got data, documents, backups. Again, this could be anywhere on your system that you want to. On mine, it's literally mount backups because I created a mount point for SSD. But again, this could be anything that you want. And then we're going to quickly save that again. And that's okay. And again, we can just quickly connect now. Or refresh the page. And we're good to go. And the first thing that I want to do here is actually just go ahead and start adding our backup. Now you can either import from a previous configuration file if you've already done this before and you kind of restore it maybe on a different computer. Or you can just click configure a new backup here. We're going to call this backup network shares. We're going to create a passphrase, which we can use as the passphrase that we set earlier on. And this is where we're going to decide where we're going to put our backup directory. Now, lucky for us, backups has already been set in the environmental variables for us, which is in our documents folder on the host system. Test that connection, and it's worked. Next, we're going to say where the source data is that we want to back up. Now, lucky for us, the source data is our network share source. Now, if you want, you can have this run every week, every day, every single 5 minutes, whatever you want, you can put in here. What we're going to do is actually set this to sometime in the future, but we are going to run this today, and then we're going to set that to run every week. Then the remote volume size, in my case, I'm going to set that to 2 GB file sizes. You can put anything you want, however small you want. What this basically does is it splits up the encrypted backup so that there are multiple files. Smart backup, we're going to do delete all backups older than... I tell you what we can do. We can just do keep specific number, and I'm going to say keep 2 backups at all time. And then we're going to click save. So we have our network shares backup ready to go, and we're literally going to click run now. Simple as that. It would normally run on its own, but we've had it run here, and just like that, that has now backed everything up. Simple as that, really. That's how you install Duplicati. That's how you get your backup running. Again, you can configure where the data is, where it goes, what folders it saves in, things like that. And restoring the files is pretty simple. You can literally go in here, find all the source materials. If we had many files in here, it would be all listed down here now. We could go to continue. If it wants to go to the original location or pick a location, do we want to overwrite or save the files? And do we want to restore the read and write permissions? Which we generally would, at which point we can click restore. And boom, just like that, our files and folders have been restored. Now, of course, this is a dramatic simplification, but you get the idea. It's a very comprehensive suite of tools that you can use to keep all your backups. And if you follow the tips at the beginning of the video, you're not going to go wrong. The other thing that's really cool in here is the fact that you can actually add a backup in here. Say, for example, my photos. Let's say we encrypted that as well. But at the top here, storage type as the destination, we can change. So you can have FTP, you can go to Google Drive, you can have OneDrive, Dropbox, anywhere you want to save. So we can have a second backup on top of that. So for example, if we go to Google Drive and we put backups there. So for the Auth ID, if we click on Auth ID here, it'll open up a login screen basically for our Google Drive account. Continue. We can now copy this Auth ID, paste that in, test the connection. Connection worked, which means it now has access to our Google Drive. Next, the source data again, we'll go to computer, right down to source. Next, when does it run? Again, we'll set it to the future just so we can quickly do a run. And again, we'll do up to 2 GB files. Smarts, we'll do, again, 2 backups every time. No more. Save. Give it a few seconds. My photos. Let's run that backup. It then uploads to there. And the cool thing about this is you could have this Google Drive upload on the back of your network shares upload. So you could have it exactly running like that 3-2-1 schedule. You'll have your first copy on your primary server. You could have your second copy on a second hard drive on that primary server. The third copy could come here to network shares in our Duplicati on the Zimaboard. And then the offsite backup in the 3-2-1 can literally be up to your Google Drive. And that's successfully backed up. And now if we wanted to restore those files, it'll find them for us. And we can just do restore read write permissions. And it'll restore them from that location. Downloads the files, and off they go. Now, the only warning here is the simple fact that there are no files in there, but you get the idea. So I hope that's been of an interest to yourself. That's a quick way of turning a Zimaboard into the ultimate backup tool. There are a lot of different apps that you can run on the Zimaboard because it has CasaOS installed, but essentially that's the primary function I'm using it for, is just Duplicati. It's using less than 6 watts of power. I mean, 1.5 right now anyway. It's just the perfect companion for low-cost backup material, really. And again, I normally put a portable SSD attached to this, the SanDisk Extreme, which I'll leave in the link in the description below if you're interested. You can connect SATA hard drives up to this. You can connect the SSDs via USB or SATA. The possibilities are endless with it. It has a PCIe 2.0 4-time slot on the side, so you can put extra network cards in. Anything really goes with this board. It is a fantastic tool. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.